Welcome, wrestling fan, to another episode of Friday Evening's Undercard. I'm your host, John Moore, and that's Eric on the other side. Eric, how you doing, man?
Pretty good, man. How you doing?
I'm good. You know, we got to get more regular about recording these.
Hey, I have plenty of time now, so work's kind of calmed down a little bit, so you just let me know.
I know. I gotta send you that message and say, hey, let's go for it. But yeah, we are on July 6th, the Independence Day edition, with no mention of Independence Day, episode of Primetime Wrestling.
Well, if only they had Alexa Express to help, promote patriotism.
Well, I mean, they've got a real American. They
do.
And spoiler alert, he wasn't even on here.
Yeah, that's,
And neither was Ken Patera, and he's an American Olympic team member.
No rhyme or reason to it, I guess.
No, Ken Patera was mentioned, but he wasn't on the show.
Yeah, spoiler alert, things don't go well for Ken Patera.
Oh, that's right. He was in that one little segment, wasn't he?
Yeah.
I totally forgot about that segment. He might be happy I forgot about that segment, the way it went for him. Okay. All right, starting off. Wasn't it on the last episode that we recapped that Bobby Heenan knocked all the dolls off the set and then
yes.
Then he got his phone taken away?
Yes, a very sad moment for everyone.
Yeah. I mean, obviously the last episode was when he got his phone taken away. I just didn't remember if the most recent episode was when he slammed all the dolls off the table. So that's relevant here because you start off the show and there's only one doll, the Hulk Hogan doll, of course, brother, on the desk.
Even in dolls, Hogan goes over.
Did you notice that he had like the really old belt? Like it was the belt that he won off of Sheik.
Yeah. Hey, and by the way, in terms of wrestling figures, I was on Netflix the other night, and they have this show called Toys That Made Us. It's like documentaries on toys and pretty good stuff.
I've heard about this
wrestling
one.
Figures.
I've heard about that one. Maybe next time we record, we should plan on doing one of these and maybe that one.
Yeah, I checked it out the other night. It was good stuff. I mean, really the biggest thing for me was when they would show like the old commercials. Just, brought back a lot of memories.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And these dolls here, so I guess it should be noted that sometime in the interim between when we were recording every week and now when I have just completely fallen off the wagon, I went to the SmackDown that was here in town, and I took my two sons. One of them is relatively indifferent to it, and the other one, it is all he talks about. I've probably watched more WWE wrestling since Labor Day than I had in the past, 2 years.
Nice.
But the way that came up is talking about the dolls. So I wanted to go on eBay and say, okay, well, how much can I get like a lot? Not like a bunch, but like, a lot quantity of wrestling figures for. Some of the newer ones are cheap. Like we got 5 for like $15. But those old ones, those old LGN figures, the ones that are on these episodes, they are not cheap.
No. Every now and then when I go through like antique stores and flea malls and things, you'll still see them. Usually they're in pretty rough shape.
Yeah.
But every now and then you see some like pretty good shape. But yeah, they're definitely classics.
Well,
now, see, for us, like at least speaking for me, I don't really remember. I mean, I remember the older ones, but mine were really the late '80s into, I guess, early '90s. I guess it was the Hasbro ones maybe that were doing it.
Yeah, that's the ones that I had. I think by the time me and you were sort of at the age to be buying these like fixed arm dolls. They were being made for WCW.
Yes. Yeah.
Because I remember I had 4 of them. I probably had more, but I remember these. I remember I had Sting, the Steiners, and Sid Vicious.
Yeah, I had Sting, I had Flair. I'm pretty sure I had Barry Windham and Sid.
Right
I know I had
on.
the Steiner brothers. I actually had Ron Simmons and Butch Reed. So
Doom.
yeah, I had Doom.
Very
So
nice.
one of my I think one of my favorite but more underappreciated tag teams. Talk about
Definitely.
2 hosses in a ring.
Yes,
So
absolutely. Butch Reed's on
you
this episode of Primetime.
yeah, well you get Doom and the Steiners. That was known for in no way a very physical, hard hitting match. Light as a feather.
Yeah, they were 4 really light guys. No, but like with us, by the time we were into it, it was the the action figures with like the spring loaded arms and stuff, like Hulk Hogan
Yeah,
and Warrior that would do the overhead press, and I think the Rockers both had like fixed legs and you could pull them down and they would jump. And I had the Bushwhackers too, and I want to say they did like that crazy forearm blow that the Bushwhackers did.
yeah. And I remember there were like 2 Hogans. There's the one where he would do like the press slam, and the other where he would like was more like posing. And then then I had the Ultimate Warrior as well. Actually, my favorite was the Undertaker. That was actually pretty cool.
I never had an Undertaker wrestling figure.
Although I will tell you, probably my 2 favorite were actually Legion of Doom, Hawk and Animal. Those were pretty cool. And randomly enough, I had as a kid a Virgil action figure.
Oh well, you had to have the Virgil action figure. I mean, I want to say it came packaged with the $1 Million Man figure.
No, this was actually Virgil when he was doing his singles run.
Oh wow!
Yeah,
Like
so
when
like
he
the
was
white and red trunks.
yeah. The ones that looked like a almost like a tugboat.
Yeah. This was well, it was funny because as a kid, I don't know why I didn't think it was a talking action figure, but you'd press a button, it just kept saying meat sauce all the time. I had no idea why Virgil is telling me at 9 years old about meat sauce.
And unlimited breadsticks.
Yes.
Chris,
And by the way, can we start the petition to make him the spokesperson for Olive Garden?
he needs to be. Surely they've got to be giving him something.
If Olive Garden is not paying attention to what he is putting on social media, they're just clueless.
Well, he put him on AEW wrestling the other week. Like,
Yeah.
What? Did they get out there in front of 1.5 million viewers or whatever it was? Now, that's a combined figure, folks. That's not what they had live, by the way. But, did they really get out there in front of that many people and not have to pay for that? Come on. That would just be unbelievable.
I mean, even if he's not your spokesperson, I don't know, make him like your daytime manager somewhere. Like, is there like a Tampa Olive Garden that needs like somebody to work the day shift?
Just give him a card that entitles him to free meals. Like, I'm trying to think of what a reasonable amount of time is. Like maybe 2 times a month per restaurant.
Well, I mean, like give him some free meals. I mean, plus he can buy his own because he's got all that. Well, I can't say the word blank money that he's getting for being Virgil, wrestling superstar.
Absolutely. Virgil. For you kids out there listening that don't know who Virgil is, that would be the guy that's on AEW wrestling right now as Soul Train Jones.
Yes.
Who said that he doesn't know if Chris Jericho's the GOAT because he doesn't know anything about farming, but that Chris Jericho is the greatest of all time.
Well, not to be confused with, Special Delivery Jones.
who we see on this episode.
Yeah, so we have to be very careful here not to confuse our younger viewers.
I wonder if they're brothers.
Well, yeah, they are, but I don't know if they're related.
Good God, man. What are you doing? Come on. You didn't have to say that. That wasn't what I meant. God, you're going to have me kicked off my own show. Like Cornette got kicked off the NWA.
No, I think what he said was a lot worse.
That is not what I meant out there, ladies and gentlemen. I was literally asking, were they either real life or kayfabe brothers?
Actually, I don't know if their paths ever crossed. Because I think, like, I don't know, they seem to be in this weird period where they could have been slightly around at the same time, but I don't know. When did SD Jones's run end with WWF, and when did Virgil start?
SD Jones is on this show, and so is Virgil. So obviously they crossed a little bit. Yeah. It's really more of a matter of whether they crossed before this.
Yeah, that's what I'm kind of thinking.
Now, something else I saw the other day, talking about Virgil, and oh boy, are we going off on the tangents here. Somebody posted online a match where he wrestled Larry Zbyszko for the AWA World Heavyweight Championship. Or maybe he just wrestled Zbyszko, but it was definitely against Zbyszko. And I was like, I had to look at it, and look, this is not any sort of a racial comment. He looked really like misproportioned. It's like his shoulder socket was like 2 inches higher than it's supposed to be, and he had these like massive deltoid muscles that just made it look even worse. And then not only that, it was like his arms were like another like 2 or 3 inches longer than what would be considered like normally proportioned. It was a really, really odd look.
You think? I think Virgil's on the juice then.
Man, I don't know what kind of lemon juice, like squeezed on his breadsticks.
Well, I mean, maybe
garlic and lemon juice or whatever it is they put on those breadsticks at the Olive Garden that are unlimited, by the way. Good. And they're unlimited. He told us that.
Unlimited.
Just like Chris Jericho's talent.
Just like Chris Jericho's talent.
Okay, well, anyway, before we get too far off the rails here, we had actually started talking about the show, and then we've gone on to here.
Well, I mean, Virgil is the most important figure ever in wrestling history, so
he definitely is. I am going to see if I can make some arrangements to see if we can't get him on the show.
I mean, the very least, we just have to buy one of his autographed photos for like $40.
You know, I bet we can just offer to take him to Olive Garden and be like, dude, you can get anything you want on the menu.
You know, actually, I was looking at his Twitter says he's from Pittsburgh.
Right, yeah.
So, I mean, I'm not far from Pittsburgh. I'm sure there's an Olive Garden in the greater Pittsburgh metro area.
Yes.
I'm willing to pay for gas and an extra meal at Olive Garden to eat Olive Garden with Virgil.
Were you aware that Virgil was at one point in time a school teacher?
Yes, I was actually.
I was unaware of that.
You know how awesome it would be to have him as your teacher?
Oh, unbelievable. Probably better than having George Steele as your teacher.
Maybe even better than having Matt Stryker as your teacher.
Is he a teacher?
He was at one point.
Oh, okay.
I mean, or kayfabe Dean Douglas.
Or Lanny Poffo, the genius.
Well, I wish Lanny Poffo would have taught me English.
I can't imagine having to sit through a lecture with him, not with that voice.
But only if he brought out the giant scroll with his lesson plan.
Yes. Did you see last night that Jericho made another list?
Yes. Yeah, it's List of Jericho might be one of my favorite gimmicks ever. Still not as good as his list of holds, though.
No, with the old dot matrix paper.
Yeah, I almost wish I had one of those printers just so I could make that list one day for somebody.
Yeah. Anyway, back to the back to this primetime wrestling show that we've got. Maybe we'll talk about this. Bobby Heenan has a new set of neck X-rays. They're easy for me to say. That allegedly he is going to show to us. We'll get to those in a minute. So the first match, we get, as Gorilla Monsoon said, the newest find of Mr. Fuji, Killer Khan.
Hold up. Cat just came in the room. All right, we're going to calm this down.
Oh, boy.
You're used to this crap. Calm down. You're the worst at selling. Keep this up, you're going to go to Mid-South. All right.
First match on the card. The newest find of Mr. Fuji, as Gorilla Monsoon told us, Killer Khan, who's got to be about 50 years old here, so I don't really think he's much of a new find, against Outback Jack. This is a Superstars taping, and I've gone back to figuring out where they are again. Superstars taping from the Market Square Arena in Indianapolis, Indiana. And of all this work I didn't write down the dates, but anyway, it had 10,555 people in attendance for a sellout. Vince, Jesse, and Bruno on commentary. Killer Khan is not wearing any shoes. That's one of the more noteworthy things of this match.
Who does he think he is, Matt Riddle?
Or one of the Von Erichs.
That too.
Outback Jack did a very terrible looking clothesline, and I don't know whose fault that was, but it was horrible looking. My third note is that, and I'll read it, TV taping, comma, at least this won't be long. And it wasn't. Killer Khan uses the green mist and hits I have it listed as a top rope knee drop, but was it a second rope knee drop?
I believe it might have been top rope.
Okay, anyway, a knee drop from one of the ropes, 1, 2, 3. Mercifully, this match is over, and Jesse Ventura wonders if that green mist was tobacco juice. I've never chewed tobacco myself. Been around a lot of people who did. Ain't never seen green tobacco juice.
Then again, I also haven't seen somebody, go full Great Muda on somebody either after doing some, skull.
No, I hadn't seen that either.
Closest, I guess we could say, is Skinner.
Oh, yeah, Skinner did just straight up spit the tobacco juice in people's face. That was a couple of years removed from this. That was around about 92 that I think he got in the WWF. And so you go back to the studio, and we get, the real highlights of primetime wrestling, Monsoon and Heenan, where Monsoon says, well, what would you do if he spit in your face? And Heenan says, well, I'd knock him out. And Jesse says, you'd knock him out. Well, not right now. I happen to be injured. And at this point in the show was where I noted something that I said earlier, was that Hogan had the Iron Sheik era championship belt on. And then we go to what would have been a commercial break, and we come back, and Monsoon is using Bobby Heenan's phone talking to Miss Betty.
Come on, give the brain his phone.
Give the brain his phone. So I got to be honest. I've probably said this before on our various recordings. I haven't seen any of these episodes in advance. So whatever we're getting is whatever we're getting. So, I know where some of the pay-per-views go and that sort of thing, but I haven't seen these episodes. Are we ever going to get a big reveal on Miss Betty?
Yeah, I'm not sure, actually. I guess we'll have to tune in and find out.
Yeah. Keep listening, folks. We'll have that one for you. We get another match unless you had something to add about the Heenan-Monsoon interaction.
No, I just think it's, by this point, the matches are almost window dressing. It's really the interaction between Heenan and Monsoon that drives the show.
Oh, yeah.
And, I can never think of, I don't think ever in pro wrestling history did you have a show that was driven so much by the announcers that the wrestling was almost a backseat. Well, it's in the case of the hosts, if you will.
Yeah, absolutely. So now we go to another match at the Boston Garden. June 6, 1987, 10,000 people in attendance. And you have the stars of the show, Gorilla Monsoon and Bobby Heenan on commentary for Tiger Chun-Li against Brad Rheingans. Thankfully, those two were on commentary.
Yes. But then again, I mean, this is a 5-star match anywhere in the world.
Yeah. Maybe like negative 5 stars.
Well, as long as it's 5 stars, right?
Yeah. You have the female referee. That's noteworthy. I think Gorilla Monsoon actually notes it in the next match that we get from the Garden. My second note, 2 jobbers in a house show going long. Oh, joy.
I think that sums it up pretty well.
Brad Rheingans really likes the side headlock takeover. I think he did 4 or 5 of those. Gorilla Monsoon said Brad Rheingans is the man of 10,000 holds. So obviously he's 10 times better than Jericho, to which who's the goat? I don't know nothing about no goats. And after the 10,000 holds comment, Bobby Heenan says, yeah, but he's only got 1 brain cell. And yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I was just going to say, once again, Heenan, and I'm talking like professional comedians, anybody, his one-liners, some of the best ever.
Oh, yeah. You know, one day I'm going to start adding some of these things in, and I'm just going to, not worry about putting these episodes up on YouTube, because that's the reason I don't put it in now, is because it would get taken down if it was on YouTube, but iTunes doesn't care. It's just, the land of the whatevers. Yeah. Anyway, so Monsoon says, oh, Brain, I heard you got a get well card from Kenny. And then Heenan goes, yeah, but he wouldn't sign it Kenny. He'd sign it 59919. That's how cons sign things. And then Heenan says, he doesn't go to fine dining establishments. They don't have 10 plates. And I have to assume he means 10 like T-I-N, like the metal plates, and not like 10 individual plates sitting in front of you. Either way, it's kind of funny. They don't have 10 plates. Good grief. So my last note about this match, 5 minutes, 40 seconds, shorter than expected. Bobby and Monsoon stole the show. Tiger won with a pile driver.
Yeah, that's pretty much all you need to know about that one.
And we're turning the page. Gene Okerlund interviews Danny Davis. Do you have any notes about Gene Okerlund interviewing Danny Davis?
Not really.
Okay, I didn't figure. Next, we get a Ted DiBiase package where he is riding in his limousine with, guess who? Virgil driving the limousine.
Greatest star in pro wrestling history.
Greatest star in pro wrestling. So Ted DiBiase's back in the back. He's counting his money. And just to show us that everybody's got a price, he gets a paper cut, and they go into a hospital. My note, WTF is Virgil wearing? Folks, if you're not seeing it, you got to go look. I don't have a timestamp for you. You got to see it. He was wearing a tan unitard that went, from the boots all the way up. It was a one-piece, and it was like, the same color as the inside of your Christmas tree, since we're recording this one 2 weeks before Christmas. Go look at the wood on the interior of your Christmas tree. That was the color of Virgil's outfit. Head to toe, folks.
No, it was his driving clothes.
Anyway, everybody's got a price. They bribed the hospital check-in girl $300, and she went and got him a room, or at least we saw that, and you cut. He didn't have the laugh. I was disappointed.
Well, and that still works today. All you have to do is when you're in the waiting room, just say, hey, I have insurance, and you get right to the front of the line.
Yeah, isn't that the truth?
So, if you ever get your paper cut and have to go have your driver take you to the hospital,
Just make sure you tell them you got insurance. They'll get you right in.
Yeah, exactly.
Now we're back in the studio, and there are more dolls on the set. I saw that. That's going to be a recurring theme. I'm going to come back to the dolls a lot. You had 3. Heenan, still with the little duct tape neck brace. Hulk Hogan, and brother. And I believe Coco Ware, but I'm not sure. I think it was Coco Ware. We get a Billy Graham package. Bobby Heenan calls Billy Graham a punk. They cut to Butch Reed and Slick, and then they actually do the package where you see Billy Graham in the gym. It's got to be just a reuse of footage that they've used before.
Wait, he's gone now from the gym rather than like wandering up a hill?
Well, yeah, he is in the gym. He's not going up the mountain anymore.
So does that mean he like got to the mountain, or did he just give up and go to the gym?
I don't know. I think he would have had a heck of a time getting to the top of that mountain with that walker.
Yeah, that's very true.
So he probably just went to the gym.
Good for him.
And to the supplement store. Yeah.
Yes.
That's where he went. That's
what they call it. He's just, saying his prayers and eating his vitamins.
His prayers and eating his vitamins. And Butch Reed, in the quote of the year, said he's not impressed and that Billy Graham is not a natural.
Well done, Butch Reed.
Yep, that's a line for you. Oh, boy, let's see. Oh, yeah. Now here we get Ken Patera's appearance on the show in person. You get the WWF magazine update, where the Heenan family, which at this point was Orndorff, Bundy, Hercules, and Harley Race, beat the daylights out of Ken Patera.
Well, I mean, family sticks together.
Yes, they do. And then after they beat him with probably Bobby Heenan's belt, because he was the only one wearing pants, you go to a backstage segment where you see the welts on Patera's back, and he's being attended to by the two most medically minded people that I can ever think of, Billy Jack Haynes and Brutus Beefcake.
I mean, when you're in trouble, that's who you want handling the situation.
Yes, Brutus with his scissors. Oh, boy. And then you get a couple other great lines from Monsoon and Heenan. Somebody says, this was Patera. They did an on-camera little interview with Patera after the welts had healed, I assume. We're going to rid the WWF of all the scum you stand for, weasel. And then we go back to an on-camera with the Brain, and he gives us another good line. It's not this first one, where he says, I got Andre and the Islanders, too. And Monsoon says, you think Patera doesn't have any friends? And Heenan goes, he's got lots of friends, but none of them have made bail. Oh, boy.
Yeah, I will admit, this whole Patera thing, I'm going to be ready for when it's over.
Yeah, I don't know how much longer it goes.
I mean, folks, if you think Rusev and Bobby Lashley angle's going on way too long, well, you have historical precedence here.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Anyway, we get the next match. One-man gang. Is this the first time we've seen gang on the show?
I think so.
Yeah, I'm not sure, but I'm up there. We definitely haven't seen it much. Against Eric Cooper, job guy. Superstars taping from the Memorial Auditorium in Buffalo, New York, June 2nd, 1987. No attendance figure given. Vince, Jesse, and Mr. T.
A Hall of Famer, Mr. T.
Hall of Famer Mr. T on commentary.
Not only that, the greatest Hall of Fame speech ever.
Well, I'm going to get to that in just a second.
All right.
As we're doing the lead into this match, Gorilla Monsoon says that gang is probably well over the 500-pound mark. Monsoon really loves exaggerating people's weights, if the listeners haven't picked up on that, to go with his anatomy lessons.
Yes.
This was a squash. Gang won. I think I don't even remember how he won. Gang won, and the other guy got in about 0 moves. Oh, actually, I'm so silly. I do have how he won. He won with a middle rope DDT.
Yeah.
And an elbow drop. Mr. T, in the 2 or 3 minutes this match took, he had to have said 10 times that he was cutting trees in order to get himself in shape.
Was he cutting trees for his mama?
And so that's what my note was. I said, Mr. T likes cutting trees almost as much as he loves his mother.
You know what? Nobody has ever loved their mother more than Mr. T loves his mother.
He took up a solid 20 minutes of worldwide airtime. He didn't say anything about anything WWE.
No.
He stood out there for 20 minutes and talked about his mom.
You know what? Mr. T, what a guy.
We come back, and there's another doll on the set. It's George Steele. Did you pay attention to the close-up that they did of that Coco Ware doll?
Not sure if I did or not.
Okay, hang on here. Pause in the action, folks. I'm going to find this, and I'm going to send this to Eric real quick, and we're gonna talk about this. All right, folks, and we are back. I am sending this image to Eric right now. We are going to get his live reaction as he sees this image coming onto his phone.
This is a family show.
It is a family show. You see the image?
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. I wonder like how exactly positioned that they had to get the camera to get that angle, because there's no way they did that by accident.
No.
No, there's no way they got that image by accident.
Yeah. Wow.
So, folks, I will try to explain to you what this image looks like in the least crude way possible. Coco Ware's doll is front and center on camera, with George Steele's doll sitting back behind him. And the way George Steele's hand is hanging, it is visible directly between Coco Ware's legs, and it looks pretty lewd.
Let's just say his little Frankie's hanging out.
Yes, it is. Yeah, come on. There's no way that was accidental. No way that was accidental. I think I actually had to pause at that point. There was a couple of points in this where I had to like just pause the show because I was laughing so hard. This has got to be one of them. So anyway, perhaps the highlight of the show right there.
That's not saying much.
No, not saying much at all. You know, I may make that the cover photo for this episode.
I mean, go for it, actually.
On we go to the next match. S.D. Jones against the Duke of Dorchester, Pete Doherty. June 6, 1987, Boston Garden, 10,000 people in attendance. You have Doherty, who looks like he's 50 years old, against S.D. Jones, who I believe still holds the record for the shortest match ever at Mania.
Oh. Is his match shorter than the Sheamus Daniel Bryan match?
Officially, yes.
Okay.
I think literally if you stopwatched them, the Daniel Bryan match is probably shorter. But I don't know how much time they wasted by him hugging and making out with AJ.
That's true, too.
You would actually have to stopwatch them. S.D. Jones's matches officially, when they released the press release, was 9 seconds long.
Hey, but he got to be on Mania, brother.
That was the official timekeeper's time. I think the real time is like 26 seconds or something. Anyway, the female referee is back, and this time Gorilla Monsoon actually notes it because, I mean, honestly, that's probably something you should note. Oh, there's a female referee. Because even now, that's not really something that you see. I mean, yes, AEW has the female ref, and she's probably the best one on the program, but they don't tell us anything about her. I won't get into that with AEW. I have that thing about a lot of stuff they do. But anyway, Monsoon says one of the few female referees in all of professional wrestling. So he actually acknowledges the fact that this 2 million people or however many are watching can say, hey, wait a minute, that doesn't look like Earl Hebner, or that doesn't look like Joey Morella. We have an anatomy lesson with Gorilla. He goes back to the external occipital protuberance. That's one of his favorite terms. And then you can hear him trying to show Bobby the Brain where that is. And Bobby's like, don't touch me.
Thank goodness for those two, because, this match isn't an instant classic.
No, I don't even know how long it took.
Too long.
Yes, too long. The only note that I have actually about the match is that neither of the two men were wearing knee pads. And when that is the highlight of the match, there's not much left to say.
No.
Special Delivery Jones won by a top rope press slam, and mercifully the match was over. We go back to the studio. We get more anatomy with Gorilla. Transverse prostheses.
That just sounds important.
You, Eric, have had neck and back surgery. Has the doctor ever told you anything about your transverse prostheses?
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay, just checking. I figured that was the answer, but just checking. Anatomy with Gorilla, folks. And Bobby Heenan.
It'd be kind of awesome if he did.
Yeah, that's true. And Bobby Heenan says, you're a gorilla, not a doctor. And, just that quick, we were on an episode of Star Trek.
Yes.
And we get another classic, Hillbilly Jim against Steve Lombardi. These two are tearing the house down in Toronto at the Maple Leaf Gardens, June 28th of 87. Mercifully, there was only 7,125 people in attendance. If there was many more than that, they may have wanted their money back. Monsoon and Heenan on commentary.
And this is something, too, you're watching this match live in the crowd. For us, mercifully, we get Monsoon and Heenan. Imagine you have no commentary for this and just have to watch it.
Yeah, all you have is the action of these two in the ring.
And we use the term action loosely.
Yes. Hillbilly Jim uses a hip block to take over Steve Lombardi, and I honestly believe that is the most technical of a wrestling move I've ever seen Hillbilly Jim use.
Yeah.
Hillbilly Jim wins by submission with a bear hug. Anything else?
Just glad it's over.
Glad it's over. You get a very crazy interview with Gene Okerlund after this. He is wearing red glasses. I have no idea why Gene Okerlund's wearing red glasses. And he's interviewing Brutus Beefcake. Gene is visibly laughing during the interview. He's known for doing that. Brutus is incoherent, but Gene says that Brutus is the San Francisco Clipper, which I'm sure had more than one meaning in 1987 when Gene said it.
Yes, I'm sure that was,
Folks, if you don't know what we mean, I ain't telling you.
Yeah, you can Google it on your own.
Yeah, figure that one out. Go watch the, oh gosh, I can hear him. David Schultz. Go watch the David Schultz interview with Gene Okerlund about San Francisco and Hulk Hogan.
Yeah.
I was looking for a woman.
Just do it on your own time, not like at work with your sound turned up.
Yeah. Better not do that at work. You'll probably get a trip to HR.
Yeah.
And a pink slip.
Very easily. Well, if you're listening to a pro wrestling podcast, you're going to be future endeavored.
Well, that's true. Yeah. Oh, good grief. Who's next? Brutus against Johnny Valiant. Same Maple Leaf Garden show. Again, mercifully, it was only 7,125 people who had to endure this. It was a really, really long match for a squash. Brutus won with a sleeper, And then he started to cut Johnny's hair. He spray painted it. I'm having trouble talking tonight. He spray painted Johnny's hair pink. And as if the match wasn't long enough, the nonsense after the match took longer than the match. Or at least it felt like it took longer. I didn't exactly stop watching.
Strutting and cutting.
Yeah. Oh, boy. Back to the studio. Now we have 6 dolls. 6. The herd of dolls on the front of the set is growing. Hulk Hogan, Bobby Heenan, Coco Ware, Brutus Beefcake, George Steele. Is it Hillbilly Jim? Because I just have Jim written down, so it must be Hillbilly Jim. And then we come back from the break, and it's now 7 because King Kong Bundy's up there. So the herd of dolls is growing. Next match, we get another wonderful match for the crowd at the Maple Leaf Gardens. King Kong Bundy against Corporal Kirshner.
My favorite corporal in military history.
Always. Your Civil War studies don't really yield much extensive history on the corporals, though.
Usually just the ones that get killed.
And then it's just like a little footnote.
If that.
Yeah, just it's just on a roster.
Yeah. I feel bad for this Toronto crowd.
Yeah, they did not get, even for 1987 standards, this was not a good crowd. I don't know what was not televised. Maybe they had the best match in the history of matches, but somehow I doubt that.
This feels like one giant rib.
Yeah, like they were just perpetuating some rib on the Toronto crowd.
Yeah. You think you hate this card, wait 10 years.
Yeah. It's like they were trying to kill the town.
Yeah, really.
I'm going to read exactly what I have because it's not long, and then we can figure out what else we want to say. Bundy demands a salute from Corporal Kirshner to start the match, which, of course, Kirshner did not give him. Gorilla Monsoon calls him a condominium with legs. Kirshner actually took him down several times. I was admittedly surprised at that. Bundy wins with an elbow drop, and as the ref is counting, you can hear Heenan shouting that he wants a 5 count.
Yeah, that about sums it up. I mean, really, Kirshner just, lack of better terms, just a jobber in this match.
Oh, yeah, definite jobber. He did get in a bit of offense, though. Now this was actually at the point where Bundy was past the 5 count gimmick, right?
Yeah, I believe so.
Yeah, I don't think he was still working the 5 count gimmick. Maybe he was, and I just don't remember it, but I don't think he was.
Remember when Big E brought that back early in his career?
Yep, on NXT.
Yeah, that was good stuff.
Yeah, but they kind of threw E on his own where he was having to do his own promos, and that was, let's just say that was 7 years ago, and he was not the talker he is now.
But here's a fun mental image. King Kong Bundy doing the Big E dance. Wrap your mind around that. You're welcome, world.
That is not as hard to imagine as you might think, because we see Otis doing a very similar gyration every week.
That is very true.
So there's that. Oh, boy. And now we go to, as Gorilla Monsoon says it, the feature match of the evening. Another barn burner for this Toronto crowd. I feel like throwing in the towel for them. Because good grief. Outlaw Ron Bass against Billy Jack Haynes. Did you hear the crowd chant?
Yes.
Very loud, very clear. Those Canadians are 20 years ahead of the times.
Well,
maybe
I
just
would be
10.
chanting worse if I was watching this show live.
Yes. Like the Hell in a Cell crowd when they started chanting for refunds.
Yes.
So, at Survivor Series. Somebody asked me to write a review for the Survivor Series card, and so I hated the two 15-on-15 matches or whatever, the 15 people elimination matches, because I knew they weren't going to be given enough time, and they weren't. You got to get 10 eliminations. The match could go 2 hours, but they got 20 minutes. And so the women's match did, and the men's, they both just did stuff that was completely stupid and just took me completely out of the show. And so I think I rated those -5 stars. And because I wanted to be equal opportunity, so I gave them both the same rating. And then I get to the Bray Wyatt match, and of course they leave, or no, not Bray Wyatt, The Fiend. Good grief. So because they left the red lights on, I said -6 stars. I don't care if they recreated Ric Flair against Ricky Steamboat. The red lights negates anything they could possibly do.
Yes.
Anyway, the Canadian crowd is, 10 years ahead of their time. They are calling Ron Bass a derogatory part of the human anatomy.
I'm trying to think how Gorilla Monsoon would describe that part of the body.
I don't know. I really don't know.
That's when I'm going to get out a medical dictionary and try to figure that one out.
Yeah. So talking about the same part of the anatomy, did you see where some knucklehead traveled all the way across country because he wanted to try to get into a fight with Darby Allin?
Really?
Yeah. And so they showed like the footage of that on Twitter, and Darby Allin's bodyguards threw the guy out. And my comment on that was, Harley Race wouldn't have needed a bodyguard. He'd have just invited the guy in and then pulled his eyeballs out through his rectum.
Yep.
Oh,
or
boy.
Race would have pistol whipped him.
I don't know if Race would have needed a pistol.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah, can you imagine back in the day, these guys having bodyguards?
No.
No. Honestly, you would get the crap beat out of you if you had a bodyguard.
Yeah. Harley Race would beat up the two bodyguards and then go to you.
Yeah. Times have changed.
Yes, they have. Anyway, Bobby Heenan says that Gorilla Monsoon broke his $7,000 watch, to which Gorilla says, "Oh, let me see it," and then just promptly drops it right on the floor. Gorilla Monsoon says that he had Jimmy Hart on the telephone.
The mouth of the South.
The mouth of the South, which obviously got Bobby Heenan's attention because they're running this angle where they're both trying to get Bam Bam Bigelow.
The pride of Asbury Park, New Jersey.
And then we get one of the best lines of the show from Gorilla as we get back to the Ron Bass and Billy Jack Haynes match. This is such an important match in the careers of both men. Who knew that Monsoon was the comedian of those two? Because I am pretty sure this match meant literally nothing in the career of either one of them.
Yeah, that's kind of my feelings on this match.
Yeah. Ron Bass chokes Billy Jack Haynes with the whip, so Haynes gets the win by DQ. And thankfully, this match and the matches of this show are over.
Could we go out on a limb and say this was the worst collection of matches ever that we've watched so far?
Yeah. Yeah. It's got to be.
And actually, entertainment value and match quality. This or Superstars of Wrestling?
What do you mean?
I mean, in terms of match quality and entertainment, I'm thinking I might have to go Superstars of Wrestling.
Yeah, because Superstars probably had some Piper's Pit or had an interview with Hulk Hogan or something.
Yeah, this is just pretty terrible stuff.
Yeah. This was bad. It was bad.
Saving grace is Heenan and Monsoon.
Yeah. Heenan and Monsoon is the best part of the show by a huge margin.
which tells you the fact that primetime wrestling's so, you know, people still remember it so fondly today, and how good of a job they did, because this is the stuff they had to work around. Like, this is, I think this is the worst collection of matches we've watched so far, I think.
Oh, yeah. Gotta be. Well, on primetime anyway.
Yeah, on primetime, yeah.
This ain't worse than Heroes of Wrestling.
Well, I don't know. I might watch Heroes of Wrestling over this.
Yeah, well, at least Heroes of Wrestling has that, like, car crash quality to it.
You mean the entire show?
Well, yeah. Yeah, I mean, the whole show.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I meant. I mean, the whole show is just like a extended car wreck. That, like, nobody got, like, mutilated on. It's just, it's fun to see. Oh, that's a car crash. Yeah, great.
Yeah, well, mercifully, this one's over.
It's over. You get back to Monsoon and Heenan in the studio, and they were talking about, like, the fine that Ron Bass is likely to get. Monsoon says that Heenan should pay 75% of it if it was one of his men, and he's like, well, you take 75% of their earnings, why wouldn't you pay 75% of their fines? And then you hear somebody come over, like an intercom system or something, saying they need Bobby Heenan to call somebody. And Monsoon gives him the phone back, but he's unplugged it. So
well played, Gorilla. Well
played. So at the end of the show, Bobby gets his phone back, but it's not connected. And that wraps up Primetime Wrestling from July 6th of 1987. Any final words for our wonderful fans out there?
Well, it was a stroll down memory lane. I kind of feel like it was a stroll down Bad Street, USA, but it was a stroll nonetheless.
Yes, it was. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, we appreciate you listening. Talk to you again next time.